Hearing that they were in the final process of getting ready to start their journey, James couldn't help but feel a little nervous. Compared to other requests, this would be much grander than anything he had experienced in the past before. Even Mim's group didn't have the experience in taking part in such a thing. As far as he could tell, this would be something that would either end in disaster or allow both their groups to increase in their talents as adventurers. This is why, even if he was nervous about the prospects of taking part in the request, James knew that in the end, it was a necessary one. Following Mim, James and Maya went to where the others were slowly gathering their things. Since we're not limited in what we're able to spend, each of us tried to leverage our own knowledge to figure out what we'll be needing. Mim looked at James and Maya. Though, to be honest, it's possible that we'll be taking things that prove to be unnecessary to help us complete our job. I think that's the case too, Maya said, nodding at the older adventurer's words. Unfortunately, it's likely inevitable that we discover inefficiencies, James said, not dismissing the idea, but also being blunt with his thoughts. Kate and Peter were standing next to one another, slightly out of the other way of adventurers walking by. Seeing James and Maya, Kate gave them a nod. Seems the two of you are ready, James said to Peter. Shrugging his shoulders. I just picked out things I think we'll need. We'll also be picking up things during our journey. Even if we have the money, we can't just carry everything with us, Peter said. It wasn't long before everyone was gathered around them. Adam was casually eating some snacks they had found in one of the stalls. They looked like some type of nuts. Well, if we're ready, then we should be heading off, Naylor grumbled. Getting used to the dwarf, James understood that Naylor just didn't care to express much on things. He seemed to prefer to get straight to the point. After understanding this, James understood why the other people in his group didn't find his gruffness to be negative. Celine smiled at Naylor. Let's head to the upper levels where we can at least get a proper meal. Sam nodded at the idea. It'll give us a chance to have some higher tiered food before we start. Hopefully, I'll be able to increase my level after having a good meal. I feel like I'm getting close to crossing level 30. You'll get there. Don't let your level bother you, Wiles said encouragingly. With all of them together, they slowly made their way back the way they came. Walking down the aisle, James couldn't help but feel startled with how little progress they made into the marketplace. Even in the aisle they were in, there was still a large part they hadn't explored. The only reason why they had to stop was due to how they were limited in the number of items they could reasonably bring. Even though several hours had passed while they were inside the marketplace, the number of people inside hadn't decreased materially. There were still plenty of adventurers that were going about their day looking for items that they needed. With their large packs on their backs filled with items they had purchased, they finally reached the elevator. They were fortunate that the elevators were large enough to accommodate them with all their gear. Celine pressed the button to the dining floor of the guild. The door soon closed and they were now making their way up. Thinking about the food they're going to get ready to dine on, James could feel his stomach getting prepared. Even with the food that they had eaten earlier, most of it seemed to have been successfully absorbed into their bodies. It was likely the reason why their packs didn't feel particularly heavy while they carried them around the marketplace.